Welcome to the Good News Ride Home for Monday, June 15th, 2020. I'm Jackson Bird. The Kentucky tattoo shop fighting back against extremism. A small town in Washington that has straight up decided to start printing their own money. The science behind why heroes tend to downplay their heroic acts. And the dads who keep making and racing Pinewood Derby cars long after their kids graduate from Cub Scouts. Tattoo artists at the Gallery X Art Collective in Murray, Kentucky have started a new service that they say is their contribution to Black Lives Matter and the fight against racial injustice. They're offering free cover-up tattoos for hate and gang symbols. Ryan King, one of the artists behind the initiative, told CNN, quote, "A lot of people when they were younger just didn't know any better and were left with mistakes on their bodies. We just want to make sure everybody has a chance to change." One of the people we got was a man with both of his forearms completely covered in hate symbols, absolutely everywhere. How is this man going to interact with society with the mistakes he made 10, 15, 20 years ago? We also got a guy with a giant swastika who said he has never taken his shirt off in front of his kids. I like seeing that. I like seeing people who want to change themselves for the better. That swells me full of emotions. End quote. They've received over 30 requests over the past 2 weeks, including from people driving across state lines to get there. The studio has several designs people can choose from, but they're also free to request their own, like a woman who covered up a Confederate flag tattoo with a lotus flower and a rendition of Pickle Rick from Rick and Morty. This type of service is by no means unprecedented. Several tattoo parlors have offered something similar over the years, and back in 2009, former skinhead Brian Widner had his racist face tattoos lasered off thanks to funding by the Southern Poverty Law Center, a journey which was covered in the 2011 documentary Erasing Hate. It's a great film. I really enjoyed it. I will drop a trailer in the show notes in case you're interested. The small town of Tenino, Washington, population just below 2,000, has been hit hard by the COVID-19 pandemic and has come up with a unique solution: printing their own money. With local businesses nearly abandoned and lines at the food bank winding around the corner, Mayor Wayne Fournier had to act fast to bolster the economy and help residents stay afloat. Quoting The Hustle, "And then it hit him. Why not start our own currency?" The plan came together fast. Fournier decided that Tenino would set aside $10,000 to give out to low-income residents hurt by the pandemic. But instead of using federal dollars, he'd print the money on thin sheets of wood designed exclusively for use in Tenino. His mint? A 130-year-old newspaper printer from a local museum. Fournier's central idea is pulled straight from Tenino's own history. During the Great Depression, the city printed sets of wooden dollars using that exact same 1890 newspaper printer. Within a year, the wooden currency had helped bring the economy back from the dead. End quote. You can see that newspaper printer in action in a 5-year-old YouTube video I stumbled across when I was looking up how to pronounce the town's name. The new currency, which has a really cool design, including George Washington's face, some Latin that translates to "we've got this handled," and a bat symbol, is worth $25 per wooden bill. The currency works like this, quote, "Residents below the poverty line can apply to receive money from the $10,000 fund that Tenino has set aside. Fournier says they also have to prove that the pandemic has impacted them, but we're pretty open to what that means. Once they're approved, they can pick up their stipends printed in wooden notes worth $25 each. The city is capping the amount each resident can accrue at 12 wooden notes or $300 per month. The spending comes with a few restrictions. Residents can't use the money to buy cigarettes, lottery tickets, or alcohol. And the currency is designed for the essentials, including food, gas, and daycare. Almost every business in town accepts the wooden notes, and twice a month they can submit redemption requests to the city to turn the notes into cash." End quote. The big thing you may be wondering, though, is why not just give out real federal cash? The answer? Quote, "By creating its own local currency, Tenino keeps the money in the community. As Fournier puts it, Amazon will not be accepting wooden dollars. The money stays in the city. It doesn't go out to Walmart and Costco and all those places," says Joyce Worrell, who has run the antique shop Ironworks Boutiques for the past decade. Closing down businesses these last few months, Worrell says, was a catastrophe for a lot of us. But she has rallied around the wooden currency as a way to revitalize the local economy. After all, it worked out for the city once before. End quote. Tenino wasn't the only town to make its own currency during the Great Depression, although it may have been the most famous. Quote, during the Great Depression, local currencies saw a golden age. Hundreds of municipalities, business associations, and worker co-ops started issuing scrips. One estimate suggests as much as $1 billion worth of script circulated in the U.S. in the 1930s, end quote. So might we see this trend bubble up again? It's actually already started happening around the world. Towns in Italy, Brazil, and Mexico have created various forms of local currency to bolster their economies during the pandemic. Does it really work to help businesses and residents stay on their feet, though? Quoting again, take the Austrian town of Wurgl, which launched its own shilling in 1932. To keep residents spending, Wurgl appended a 1% monthly fine when residents held on to the notes. By 1933, each Wurgl shilling had circulated 463 times, more than double the circulation rate of Austria's national currency. Wurgl's unemployment dropped by 25%, even while unemployment continued to balloon throughout the rest of the country. End quote. Local economies are not the only concern, of course, and studies show that these local currencies tend not to have a macroeconomic impacts, but at least during times of hardship, this may be a thing we continue to see more of. You know the type. Someone who commits absolutely incredible, selfless acts and then is totally modest on top of that. A real mensch. A new study in the journal Sage looks at why that might be, why heroic folks tend to downplay their actions. The researchers conducted 3 experiments to test whether those achieving heroic feats were more likely than observers to downplay their actions, and if those heroes rated themselves less positively than the observers did. In the first experiment, subjects read news reports about heroic feats, including a quote from the hero, and were then asked if they thought the hero underrated themselves. And overall, the participants agreed that they had. In the second experiment, participants were asked to write about a heroic act they had either witnessed or performed. Quoting SciPost, when participants were asked to evaluate the pro-social act in question, results showed that participants evaluated heroic acts they had performed less positively than they evaluated heroic acts committed by others. They also rated heroic actions as less taxing when they were the actors rather than someone else, end quote. And in the final experiment, participants watched videos of heroic acts being performed and were then asked to evaluate the heroes in the videos or imagine themselves in the heroes' shoes. The participants overwhelmingly gave less positive ratings to the heroic act and downplayed the personal burden when they were imagining themselves as the hero, versus evaluating the hero they simply observed. The author of the study, Nadav Klein, offers some possible explanations for the findings. Quote, actors may judge themselves relative to what they could have done to help, whereas observers may judge actors based on what they have actually done. Second, actors' self-evaluations may be affected by the objective outcomes of their actions to a greater extent than observers' evaluations. When outcomes are not uniformly positive, for example, a firefighter who saved several people but not everyone caught in a fire, actors may evaluate themselves less positively than observers would. The author concludes that it seems likely that heroes do not perform for the accolades. He says, quote, heroes' shunning of exceptional praise suggests that reputation may not be a key incentive for extreme pro-social actions, end quote. My layman's takeaway is also that this study shows there might not be a typical hero archetype of a person, at least as far as someone who's super modest and super altruistic and daring, but that most of us come across as modest after performing a heroic or selfless act because we're hard on ourselves and could see all the complications and shortfallings from the inside versus just seeing how amazing it appeared to outsiders. And overall, heroes are just humans, like everyone else. Except when they're dogs. Dogs make the best heroes. Is Is there something interfering with your happiness or preventing you from achieving your goals? I know for me, the past few months, it's been a real challenge to keep up with the things that make me feel mentally and emotionally positive, and at a time when I probably need those things the most. If you're in a similar boat, maybe feel like you need someone to talk to, try BetterHelp. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist. You can start communicating in under 24 hours. It's not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It is professional counseling done securely online. There's a broad range of expertise available, which may not be locally available in many areas, and the service is available for clients worldwide. You can log in to your account anytime and send a message to your counselor, and you'll get timely and thoughtful responses. Plus, you can schedule weekly video or phone sessions, so no matter what phase of reopening your town is in, you'll be able to talk to a counselor. No need to leave your house or sit in an uncomfortable waiting room like with traditional therapy. BetterHelp is committed to facilitating great therapeutic matches, so they make it easy and free to change counselors if needed. It's more affordable than traditional offline counseling, and financial aid is available. BetterHelp wants you to start living a happier life today. You can visit their website and read their testimonials that are posted daily, like this one, quote, Dr. Stacy Fox has been a huge help so far in my journey toward better wellness. I was hesitant at first with using BetterHelp, assuming it would be less personal, but Stacy makes me feel like I'm in a typical therapy session and remembers things I've said in the past. I'm excited to keep working with her and see future growth, end quote. So visit betterhelp.com/report. That's better, H-E-L-P, and join over 800,000 people taking charge of their mental health with the help of an experienced professional. Again, that's a special offer for Good News Ride Home listeners. Get 10% off your first month at betterhelp.com/report. We're all trying to stay in shape at the moment, but especially when you're working out at home on your own, it can be hard to know if you're pushing yourself too much or not enough. With Fitbod, you can get a truly personalized fitness program that adapts as you go. Fitbod is a smart fitness app that takes all the guesswork out of planning your workouts. Fitbod's algorithm factors in your goals, experience level, equipment, workout duration, and muscle recovery to intelligently craft the perfect total body workout program just for you. Since we can't go to the gym right now, I love that I am able to select exactly what equipment I have at home, and then the app plans workouts using just that equipment and designs them to maximize my results with instructions that are super easy to follow. Personalized training can be tough on a budget, but Fitbod is only $9.99 a month or $59.99 a year. Plus, you can try 1 month of workouts absolutely free. Get a personalized fitness plan that helps you work out smarter at fitbod.me/goodnews. You can try Fitbod for free for 1 month when you sign up today at fitbod.me/goodnews. Again, that is 1 free month when you sign up at fitbod.me/goodnews. Father's Day is this Sunday. This is your official reminder. Father's Day is on Sunday. If you have a father figure in your life that you haven't gotten some kind of gift for yet, time is running out. And hey, maybe you could get him a Pinewood Derby kit. Apparently, there is an entire pro league of Pinewood Derby racing for adults. The National Pinewood Derby Racing League. For anyone who didn't do Pinewood Derby as a kid, a quick explainer. It's a thing mostly associated with Cub Scouts where you build a racing car essentially out of a block of light wood and 4 wheels, slap on some cool racing stripes or flame decals, and then go compete by letting them roll down a wooden ramp, 4 at a time. Honestly, especially in this more professional incarnation, it's not too far off from the marble racing that I shared with you a few weeks ago. Now, while many of us built and raced the Pinewood Derby cars as kids, there is a whole league of dads who are still at it. A lot of them raced as kids themselves and then helped their kids build their cars. Some of them got so into it they became the go-to dad in the neighborhood to help kids build a winning car. And then they became pro racers in their own adult league. One of the main league competitions happens at the southwestern Utah home of Joel Redfern. Quoting Popsci, he stages monthly competitions in his basement. The wooden tracks of a bygone era have been replaced. Redfern's races happen on a slick 42-foot aluminum runway with a computerized lane timer. As many as 40 people enter, and Redfern says usually 100 to 140 cars will glide down his 4-lane course. Since all the events happen here, most contenders race by proxy, shipping their carefully packaged fleets to Utah. Matches themselves are fairly straightforward. There are now 10 different championship series classes, each with its own construction guidelines. 4 categories, for instance, have strict rules about how much wheels must weigh. Another one limits vehicle length to 4 inches. People can send in as many cars and enter as many classes as they like. Racers pay a fee for every vehicle they enter, starting at $10 and gradually dropping the larger the fleet. Some guys attempt just a handful of classes. Others, like Dan Inman, try all 10, and it is, for the most part, guys. Racers earn points at each competition, a structure borrowed from the motorsports racing leagues like NASCAR. The higher you place, the more you win. Get enough by year's end, and you'll find yourself battling the best of the best at Man of the Mountain. Meticulous only begins to describe participants' fanaticism. Just prepping one set of wheels for one car can take several hours, Redfern says. And that's not even the axles. We're fighting for every 10,000th of a second. And lots of times we have races decided on that 4th digit. End quote. And it really is that precise and that intense. No Pinewood Derby kits here. Everything is made from scratch with painstaking detail and devout maintenance. Here's a peek at just one aspect of the process. Quote, prepping his chosen fleet for race day entails a process the Derby world calls tuning, oiling the axles to enhance speed and bending them to create steer. After a thorough polishing, Dan Inman coats his nails with Jigaloo, a silicone-based lubricant. They dry overnight underneath plastic containers to keep out dust. Afterward, he applies 2 types of oil. When the axles finally make it onto the car, Inman achieves steer with a screwdriver, twisting the nails until they position the nose of each car 2 inches to the left so it rides the center lane rail the length of the track. He's just as careful with his wheels. A friend in Virginia who competes in a different league custom cuts each set of 4. Inman's touch is a quadruple layer of Icon car wax, $300 a bottle, anywhere the disc touches the track or the axle. Each coat dries for up to 8 hours in a small oven, the kind nail salons use to cure polish. Afterward, he weighs the wheels to ensure he won't be disqualified. End quote. Yeah, it's very intense. But since so many of the competitions are done via live stream already, with competitors shipping their cars in ahead of time, it's very well set up to be a good, socially distant sport. So maybe we'll see an uptick in Pinewood Derby racing or spectating in the near future. The Man of the Mountain World Finals aren't until November, but the next National Pinewood Derby Racing League race will be on July 10th at 5:30 p.m. Mountain Time, although it's unclear if you have to be a member or competitor to watch the live stream. If anyone from the National Pinewood Derby League is listening, I highly recommend making the live streams and videos public. I mean, I would totally watch this, and I think a lot of other people would too. I mean, at least until the NBA comes back. That is all for today. As always, this show was produced by Ride Home Media. I'm Jackson Bird. I hope you had a great start to your week and have a good rest of your day. I'll talk to you tomorrow.